Good morning, everyone. Thanks for telling me where you are, what's going on over there where you are, maybe a little. But here we go. Welcome, friends, old and new, to the experimental and experiential Not Church. No dogma, no doctrine. We explore mysticism in Scripture. We seek purity of heart. Today on Not Church, choose. I'm Reverend Peter Panagore, with a master's degree in divinity and a twice reborn person from death. I live on a rural bit of land on the edge of the wild North Atlantic. Nature's my church. I work in religion as a public mystic, building community. And that's what I hope you're doing here. Bring your brain, bring your heart. Stay for the chat. Today's subject is addressed by request. So let's take a moment to settle ourselves. Take a belly breath with me. Inhale. Hold it a moment. Exhale. Hold it a moment. Today's a day for making peace, not in the world, but in yourself. Not Church is about choose today. Choose a side, love or hate, fear or love. Peace isn't the absence of turmoil in the world. Peace is the absence of hate and fear and the center of you. I say to you, love your enemy. Think of your enemy. Bless those who curse you. Think of those who curse you. Take a breath. Clear your mind. Do good to those who hate you. Breathe in hate. Hold it. Exhale. Love. Hold it. Pray for those who abuse you. Inhale abuse. Exhale love. Breathe in persecution. Exhale love. Breathe in love. Breathe out love. Yogi Berra said, "It's tough to make predictions, especially about the future. Prognosticators, TV talking heads, pollsters, and prophets make predictions. Difficult to see, always in motion, is the future," said Yoda. "Fear not," said Jesus. 1,000 times, fear not. Be mindful of the present. Be mindful in the present. Now is where you will find God. Now is where we find our strength. Nowness is where we find peace, not as the world gives peace, Whatever happens this week and in the coming months in this diseased and ill-at-ease United States of America, if our disunity causes our decline or demise, we can't know ahead of time. We know that there is no room for heaven with a heart filled with fear or hate. I know this. I saw this, experienced it. Neither fear nor hate can cross heaven's threshold. Cling to hate and cling to fear, and they will hold on to you in return. Release them, and they will release you. Choose. Releasing is about the here and now. It's always here and now. Right now, in divided America, when and where much hate fills hearts, leaving little room for love. Choose. When fear fills a heart, little room is left. When hate fills a heart, little room is left. Make space within. Make space for peace in your heart. Make peace in your heart. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they are the children of God. It's not the worldly peace we make. Worldly peace never lasts. True worldly peace is coming and will come and is made as an outgrowth of our collective inner peace. We become the channels. We are the channels. Remember that the great global awakening is underway and has been for 50 years. Ever since medical science began raising the dead by the tens of millions all over the world, it's my calling, my purpose, my mission to spread the truth of love that many millions of the resuscitated agree. Love is all there is. Cling to love, especially in times of anxiety and stress and tumultuous trouble. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they see God. For they see God. You see God in your heart. The higher frequency, the purity. Purify your heart through being present to yourself, by being present to the prime source. And see. Do you need peace in this pandemic? Need peace when all we hear is hate, fear, and fight? Peacemaking is making your heart pure through an inner prayer life of listening prayer in the context of a like-hearted community. Together, now, the buzz, the light, the hum, the whisper inside your heart. Where two or more are gathered, I am is here. Strive right now with me. Open your heart and mind with me, and together bring peace to yourself. Breathe in your fear. Hold it. Release it. Breathe out love. Hold. Breathe in your hate. Hold it a moment. Breathe out love. Breathe in love. Breathe out love. Release it. Whatever the future holds, hold on to each other. Hold on to the one living love. There is your strength. There is our strength. This week and in the weeks to come, take time to breathe with love. And the months to come, keep coming to Not Church, where together we hold a place for peace and love in a world of hate and fear. Peace be in us all. Peace be with you. In a minute, I'll look at the chat and we can talk. But I need your help. An easy way to help grow Not Church is to like this video, stay for the chat, or write a comment. Subscribing and ringing the bell today to get alerts when I go live helps a lot. YouTube likes conversation, comments, chats, likes, and subscribers, and helps those channels grow. Big, 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 big thanks to my friends who give recurringly or single gifts of support through PayPal or during the live chat. It all helps. You help. Thank you. Today we looked at Luke 6 and Matthew 5. Be sure to join in on Monday and Wednesday for our live centering prayer groups called Open Eye at 8 a.m. Eastern live. Check out peterpanagore.love for details on Tuesday's private meditation group. Join us today after the chat at Mystic Tea Salon for a deeper conversation. Find your Zoom link at peterpanagore.love. That's Mystic Tea Salon. Do you need counseling or coaching or just a spiritual conversation adjusted to your needs? Book a session with me. I've been counseling and coaching ever since 1986. Next week on Not Church, by request. Who is Jesus? Really? So, I hope that worked. Taking away the teleprompter, and I'm looking over at the chat. There's the teleprompter, everybody. Ta-da! With the iPhone on it. I got up this morning mighty early, mighty early. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming today. I see lots of people here. I might pull in my glasses. Let's see. Good morning, everyone. Where are we at today? Love to all. We're all one. Daylight savings time gets me every time. Yeah, daylight savings time, Valerie. It gave me an extra hour's sleep, and so I was up pretty early. Good morning from Texas. Everybody, hi, and good morning to everybody. Thank you. Just what I need this morning, says Susan Hilton. I needed to hear all of this morning, says Valerie. Good morning and good morning and good morning from all over, from Oregon and Florida and Kentucky and Niantic, Connecticut, South Florida, San Francisco, New Jersey, Yarmouth, Maine. Hello, everyone. I live in Chicago, but I am in Michigan for the moment. A happy Sunday, and we're happy we get an extra hour. Yeah, this extra hour this week is an important thing, I think. Lots of people are pretty stressed out. So I think having an extra hour this week to sleep in, it's a good thing. Hello in the UK, Russell, and from New Hampshire and Vermont. Good morning and good morning. Well, lots of good mornings. Any conversation this morning? Anybody have anything they want to talk about this morning? I don't see any questions or comments. There's Wanda. She says, what if sadness? I feel that far more than hate or fear. Oh, well, sadness. I didn't think of that this morning when I was writing, but totally true. Anybody want to comment on sadness? That would be awesome. Bring that to your forefront here. Thank you, Kim, AKA Capital. Thank you. You can bring that to your forefront if you have any sort of questions about or comments on sadness. But let's talk about that for a minute. Grieving. Well, we grieve the losses that we face if we grieve loss. Okay, so here's the thing. One of the things I didn't talk about this morning, calling us one of the things I didn't talk about this morning is why I take the perspective that I do. Here's the truth of it. Here's the secret of it. I don't take this perspective. This perspective took me. And my perspective is this, that even in the midst of all of the terrible things, the sadness, the anger, the hate, the fear, underneath all of that is the peace. It's this peace doesn't make you happy. This peace doesn't, well, it can bring you joy, but that's a different thing. You can be joyous and sad at the same time. You can be joyous and sad at the same time because peace is joy and joy is peace, just like peace is love and love is peace. This is the thing that is underneath it all. This is the thing that exists without any of the chemical and electrical reactions of your body creating our emotions. Joy is not an emotion. The presence of God is not an emotion. We feel those things as joy and peace and love. But the presence itself, it's so far beyond emotion. And that's why I think of it this way. It's better to learn to swim before you need to know how. Now's the time to begin connecting with the divine if you haven't already. And keep digging there. You keep digging and you keep digging and you keep digging. And it won't eliminate your sadness. I still suffer sadness. I've been to heaven. I've been infilled with the oneness of being in the presence of God, the source of all, the nameless, ineffable one. And I still feel every emotion. This doesn't eliminate emotions. This gives us the strength to carry on in all events. In the face of all things, the presence of the divine gives us the strength to carry on. That's the secret. It's not here to change the world. It's here to change us. And through us, by surrender, it changes the world. So keep hope, even in the face of sadness, because hope is also love, which is also peace, which is also joy. All of those things. Lee says, it was a rich sharing, Peter, calling us all into our connectedness with the source of peace and love as we go into this week. And that's what I was aiming for. Thanks for saying that, Lee. Because that's what we need, I think. And I struggled for hours, days about this. And finally, this morning, I had to make a choice about what I was going to say today after the request last week to talk about the election. This is my way I approach it. Feels like it's mourning, but I don't know what for. Loss. Of the American dream. But it's not over because it lives inside our hearts. That's the thing of it. You can't kill it if it lives inside you, because you can't kill the soul. What did Jesus say? Something like, choose the thing that they can't kill. Choose the thing that moths won't eat, that rust won't destroy. Amen. Yes, you can. Sending love and light and energy out into the world. So much stress right now, says Connie. Yeah, the more we send, the better it is. Hey, David from Boulder. It's an unspeakable peace, says Sabine. And it is unspeakable. And yet it is. Capital I. yet it is. I have rotated through all 5 stages, says Nina, of grief over and over the past 4 years, still hoping to eventually arrive at acceptance and peace about the country I live in. I hear you. I do. I do. I'm never seeking peace about where I live. I live in a peaceable place. But the peace I seek isn't about anything externally, because everything externally always changes. The peace of the world is always fragile. And it has been, I don't know, in written history for thousands of years, and in prehistory for hundreds of thousands of years for humanity. That's why the seeking of the peace within makes all the difference, because it gives stability in a world that is beyond our control. Wanda, the acceptance that comes with peace necessarily seems to involve acknowledging loss, says Wanda. Yeah, the thing is, you lose yourself in the gaining of peace. Yep, it comes with loss. Amen and spot on, says Wendy. Steve, would you comment on the role of the communion of saints in the current rage pool that we have created? Yeah, well asked. The communion of saints is what we're talking about. That's a Protestant term, and it means the collective of channeling hearts of light and love. The role is always to aim for the light. That's the role of the saint. That's the role that we have, each of us who seek God. At this stage, the role is just that. At this stage, it's just that. Love your enemy. Do good to those who hate you. That's a tough saying. That doesn't mean don't defend yourself. It doesn't mean that. But it does mean connecting as ever deeper as you possibly can to the divine love itself. True. I've heard of being with sadness as a way to process through it in a healthy manner. Yeah, that's right, Emily. You be with the sadness. True. True enough. Meditation helps you look at it, to be with it and embrace it, but not grasp it. But I've experienced that focusing my attention on painful emotions tends to exacerbate them. Yeah. So you can't help but really suffer your grief when you lose somebody. When the grief is extreme, you have to be with it. Because when you're not with it, it clings to you. So one has to experience their grief with whatever way you experience it, because that's part of being human. But sadness, like sadness that's ongoing and chronic, that's not sharp like grief and mourning. I'm sorry about that last word, mourning. It's but not sharp like grief, because it is a form of mourning. Sadness can be. Grief is sharp. Mourning is over duration. When I was thinking of the life of Brian and the last scene where they're on the crosses and they're swinging their legs and they're singing that song, and always look on the bright side of life. That's what I'm telling you to do. In your heart, you can still be sad and still exist with your sadness. And while you look at your heart, it gives strength to bear the sadness. People think that God is like Santa Claus, to give gifts, or like the genie to take away things that you don't want in your life. But it doesn't work that way. It gives us the strength we need to bear the burdens of life. That's really its secret power. To bear the sadness, to bear the mourning, to bear the loss, all those things. Thank you, says Primary Fathers. You're welcome. Like Peter said, hold on to the negative emotion and it will hold on to you. That's the story you tell yourself is what you become. We become what we think. The Buddha said, you are what you think, or words to that effect. And that's totally, totally true. You want to manifest anything in your life, spend a lot of time thinking about it. And it will come into being with action for some things. You can think about raking the yard and think about it every day and not rake it, and the yard doesn't get raked. But if you think about your pain all the time, what room is there for peace? That's why we take breaks with meditation to think about peace and light and love, to train our minds to think about the higher things. That's where the strength lies. Tap my microphone with my thumb. Accept emotion as being felt. I allow the emotion to speak and give it love. Yeah, well, that's what we were kind of trying to do there in that breathing in exercise. Breathe in the thing that hurts you. Breathe out love. That's what we were attempting to do. The kingdom of heaven, says David, is within us and around us. We can only see it through the lens of love. If we choose to judge things other than love, we cannot see the kingdom. Yeah. Yep. And we can, that kingdom word, it's very easy and correct, but it's also something I'm, trying to move away from. I don't know what the right word is. Queendom? Maybe queendom, just to be fair. I sense that with our awareness, the interconnectedness of all life, which we are seeing publicly now, it's so obvious now the impact of what happens when people choose their own gain. Well, that's the thing, right? You choose yourself above everybody else. Where's the community in that? That's what Jesus was talking about. Islam is the name of Islam is surrender. The dying to the self is the dying to the self. It's the recognition that the other person matters more than us because we are the other person. That's why it works that way. Because the light in me is the light in you. Oh, yes, trying to give our current president love, but he makes it so excruciatingly difficult. No, love is what the man needs, but you have to want to accept love too. There's also biological things that get in the way. Once he's heard he's God's child in the disguise. Oh, I won't finish that sentence. Maybe we're feeling sad because we are in space of division and separation today, which would seem to be the opposite of our true nature, says Karen Elise. Yeah, I'll go with that. Peter, may love bring our world more peace. GPS, yeah, I hope so. I have hope, okay? I do. For the first time in the history of the world, I actually really do have hope. Whatever happens to our nation politically, I still have hope because medical science has been raising the dead for 50 years, and that has not changed, and that won't change. All over the world, that won't change. I mean, mystics made every day in operating rooms all over the world and in ambulances. You keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. Thank you, Shelley. Isaiah. I heard the phrase kingdom. Yeah, all right, kingdom. Realm. Yeah, I know that phrase too. It's, I haven't, anyway, yes, true, Ellen. Geneva, try giving the president compassion, recognize that he is suffering more than most. Yeah, that's the thing. When you've been in the presence of the perfect love, of purity of being, and seen yourself in relationship to every other human being, you're more in relationship to every other human being, no matter what they've done or who they are, than you are in relationship to the ultimate purity of the divine self. That's why it's hard to condemn other people. For me, anyway. Because all of us fall short. And that's just not verbiage. It doesn't mean you don't stand up and defend what you love. But ultimately, you can't take love or hate across the threshold of heaven. There's no room there for them, or sadness, or any of those wounded things of human beings. But love, yes, but fear and hate, nope. No sadness either. Thank you, self-luminosity. Thanks. Appreciate this morning. I love President Trump. I've had some very interesting dreams about him, says Stardust. President is amazing. You're sad because you don't see God working through him. Yeah. I wanted to address hate and fear today. I'm going to stay away from the president. I'm going to stay away from the political parties. I'm going to talk about those things that are universal for us. Because here's the thing. Who's ever on the other side from you in this political fight, we're talking about the same thing here with your neighbor. Love your enemy. Do good to those who abuse you. That's what we're talking about here. Because not one human here who is alive today gets to keep their political party with them when they die. You don't. You can't take it with you. And as much as we invest ourselves in these things here, where's the lasting value? My hope is for all of humanity. Every single one of us. No exclusions. No exclusions. It's a hard time in our country. My real request is nonviolence in the streets. Last night there were battles in 2 of our cities, rioting battles. The 2 oppositional parties tossing sticks and stones at each other. Well, they do break bones. I don't want that for our country. Do you? I don't want that for our country. The American dream is that we can live together. That's the American dream. I have friends on both sides of this debate. I want to keep them all. But I want love to be in every heart that I keep. Because I don't have much room for hate. I have lots of room for love. That's just me. I'm looking over at the chat here. Words are weapons despite all our gains. It seems we've digressed into the Middle Ages in that regard. How do we go back to the language of love through nonverbal communication? Asked Thomas. Yeah, words are weapons. Words are weapons. That's for sure. Again, Always the same answer. It's connectedness to the presence itself that makes all the difference. Keep your own vitriol to a minimum. As much as possible, live peaceably with your neighbor. I think that's in Romans. As much as possible, live peaceably with your neighbor. Govern your tongue. Govern your tongue. That's all. Don't respond in kind. We're not here to judge, says Colleen, only to love. Some are harder to love than others. That is totally true. That's our assignment in life. Jesus says, easy to love your friends. Yeah, it's super easy to love your friends. It's loving your enemy that you need to be working on. Everyone can love their friends and love those who love them. Loving the other person, that's the hard thing. That's what he's talking about when he says love your enemy. Thank you, Colleen. Your ministry for thank you, Peter, for your ministry to us as we try to find our way in this journey called life. Thank you, Colleen. Yeah, this is a pretty risky thing, I got to tell you. It's how it feels to me. So thanks, Colleen. This is an experiment. I really am hoping that love is the thing that prevails always. Love and hope. Nonviolence. Yep. We're talking about nonviolence, people. Nonviolence. Nonviolence. That's what we're talking about. Don't flood the streets. Nonviolence in our conversations, too. That's what Tom's talking about. I don't know if you follow me on Facebook at all, but I don't engage in political debate. What's the point? I can't convince anybody of anything, of my opinion. I'm only trying to bring the light. That's all I'm trying to do. And live in the real world, because there's no choice but to do that. How do we work against all this violence, divisiveness, and open hatred? I'm going to make a sign from my window that says, love conquers all, or similar instead of a political sign. Colleen, yeah. That's why you cultivate it inside yourself. When you cultivate it inside yourself, it spills out on its own. When we cultivate it inside ourselves, it spills out on its own. The more we have in us, the more we bring to the world. Yep, love wins. How do we work against all this? Oh yeah, I read that one. As we are all connected, consciousness, whoever you hurt, you end up hurting yourself. You'll experience any hurt you gave to others from their perspective through your life review when you pass. It says PS and PS, postscript. I 100% agree because that is what happened to me. I can't promise it'll happen to everybody, but it definitely happened to me. And I expect it to happen again. The hurt you give away, you get to keep. Karma. The love you give away, you get to keep. Karma. It's not about this life, people. It never was. It isn't. Love is the answer for me, says Sue. That's where my peace really lies. Acceptance. Oh, thank you, Connie. Acceptance of difference is love. Forgiveness isn't necessary for me when I accept. Wounds of this world hurt. There's a song called Love is Still the Answer by Jason Mraz. It's inspiring and uplifting. Thank you, Sarah. There will be no point in life if we did not experience pain, love, grief, sadness, etc. They are stepping stones to growth, says Valerie. The point is to speak up for what's good and right, says Claire. Willie T, I can't get emotionally distant from the fact that we are all one. I feel very blessed in that. I don't see enemies, and I could never hate anyone. I couldn't think of a bigger waste of energy than hate. Willie T, you and me. That's what came back with me when I was from being dead. That's what came back with me too. Valerie, there would be no point in life if we did not experience. Oh, yeah. How did I must have just read that one. Sorry, Valerie. I think it got printed twice, I think. Fearful of Tuesday and beyond. I want to escape. Help, says Colleen. Yeah, Aruba, maybe. Although they get hurricanes. I don't think there's any escape. I think there's only looking inside for peace. And then whatever happens this week, I guess we're going to find out together. And I'm asking everybody for nonviolence. That's really what I'm asking for. Love. Man created religion and politics? Totally. The hurt you gave away, you get to keep forever? No, I was cleansed of it. The hurt I gave away was burned from me in the fire of divine love, purgative fire of divine love. Couldn't bring it with me into the oneness of being, into the presence of heaven, into the light of all lights. No room for it. So after I self-judged, it was gone. And it's not forever. Let's see. No violence, peace, so sad, says Connie. It's interesting that the great division in our country causes people who are on the same side to feel more connected with one another. I feel like these intense periods serve a greater purpose. Purpose. We do feel more connected to each other. That is an interesting observation, Jim. Very interesting. Can't find where to contribute. Elizabeth, oh, hi, Liz. There's a thing called Super Chat on this. I'm not sure how it works. Somebody might be able to help her. But on my website, there's a place for donations. At the bottom of the website, there's a little heart. Thanks, Liz. Appreciate it. Thanks for asking, too. If someone can help her, that'd be great. A $sign under chat is Super Chat and how to contribute. Thanks, Kim. So the $sign under chat is Super Chat. Colleen, I want to live my life. I want to live as much of my life review on earth. The more amends work on earth, I pray, the sooner I can get the joy of heaven. Unfortunately, I will never be able to see all the damage I've caused. Yeah, there's that story that Jesus tells when he's like, when you're on, oh, sorry, I'm playing with this thing. That's the bell. When you're on the way to the judge and the prosecutor is calling you to see the judge on your way, go make up with your friend. So that by the time you get to the judge, it's all taken care of. That's kind of what you're saying. That sets God up as the judge, and that's really not the way I experienced it. But the metaphor works pretty well. Make amends here as best we can, day to day. And you can't know everything. You can't fix everything. But you kind of aim your heart in the right direction. That's all we're doing. Aiming our heart in the right direction. David, Elizabeth, oh, you got the button there. Shelley, the button for Elizabeth. We need a special live session on Wednesday. Okie dokie. I'm going to be doing something with IANS, International Association for Near-Death Studies, on Tuesday the 3rd, and I think it's at, I'll announce it when I get all the details. It happened late last night. I think it's at 1 o'clock. If you go to the ISGO site of the International Association for Near-Death Studies, you'll find details there. I don't have any details yet. I just know that they're doing a day-long round robin of bringers of peace. And my gig with them is at 1 o'clock Eastern time. And maybe if I can find that information, it might have come by email in the middle of the night. I haven't seen it. Can you give some suggestions on sending the president love? It's hard for me. Think of him as a being of light. No one lives, but they are a being of light. No one. Chickadees, grasshoppers, barracudas, great white sharks, scorpions, chickadees. Oh, I said them. I just like them. Chipmunks. All human beings. Just send love. Just send love. How do I know this? Because I've had enemies. I mean, I've had real enemies, personal enemies, people trying to ruin me, destroy me, things like that. Don't have to hate them. You can fight against them, but you can still send them love. Pray for your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. Pray for those who abuse you. Do good to those who curse you. For reals. Don't go to communion before you have made amends with your enemy. Yeah, that's the traditional, that's what they're trying to do in the Catholic Church. You can't go to communion until you make amends with your enemy. Don't go to sleep on your anger, kind of thing. Thank you, Elizabeth, for that donation again. I know you've been supporting me in lots of different ways for a long time. So thanks a lot, Liz. I've got about, 7 or 8 minutes. After 30 years of hate, says Charlie, violence and thousands of murders in Northern Ireland, let me tell you, it's not worth it. That's something the two opposing sides agree on. So that's the thing. Charlie's right. Do you remember the Civil War? We don't want that. We do not want that. And Northern Ireland, these people who have hated each other and now live together peaceably because neither of what they agree on is they want the killing and the murder and the death. They wanted all that stuff and the vengeance to stop, and it has. They learned the lesson. Charlie lives there, lived through it. Willie T, the world is how we interact with our neighbors. Quite the coincidence of the earthquake between Greece and Turkey. Yeah. Opa. I'm half Greek by culture, anyway, not by nationality, but, family. In Turkey, where they have the best food in the world, by the way. Okay, I have an opinion. There's other good food elsewhere. Ethnically, family, politically divided, love the neighbor. Yeah, that's right. I mean, Turkey and Greece, for real. Sue, is it okay praying for awakening? How to do this without crossing someone's will? You still pray for them anyway, because their will is their will. God's will is awakening. That's God's will. So you don't ask, it's not about my will. I'm not trying to live my will. I'm not trying to find my purpose in the world. I'm not trying to live out my mission in the world or fulfill my calling in the world. None of those things. It's God's will that we're aiming at, whatever that is for each one of us, that each purpose, each mission, each calling, God's will, all of us. We don't have to cross another person's will to pray for awakening with them, because it's not about their will. Does that make sense? You're welcome, Geneva. Let's see. I was told as a child not to read Revelation until you've read the rest of the Bible. Would you know the reason for this? Yeah. So the Revelation is like an add-on. People think it's about predicting the future, but what did Yoda say? The future is always in motion. And Yogi Berra, What do you say about predicting the hardest thing to predict is the future? Um, that's why we focus in the now. Revelation, from my perspective, was really an exploration of the current political and economic situation of the greater Mediterranean basin based in the time period under rule of the Romans. I don't think it was about 2020 or Hal Lindsey's version of it, whenever that was, in 1993 or something, whenever he was predicting the end of the world, or any of those people who predict the end of the world. The world is not going to end. Humanity, well, if an asteroid hits us, we might end, but the world's not going to end. And humanity might survive another million years. Wouldn't it be great if we had a great spiritual global awakening in the meanwhile, and that our evolution advances not just because we're growing that extra artery that I read about in the forearm that seems to be a new evolutionary appears to be a new evolutionary change in humanity. Uh, I'm aiming toward. I know that the great global awakening is happening, and what I'm going to believe is that it's going to transform humanity, because nothing else has. And this is the only thing that can. So that's kind of where I'm at with all of that stuff. I have a warm personal regard for all persons at all times. A hard one, but helpful mantra. I have a warm personal regard for all persons at all times. That's a nice mantra, Claire, and I hope that it helps. I aim my heart at God and let all the rest take care of itself. And I don't hate the president, just dislike strongly. I'm working through it. Thanks all. Thanks, Geneva. Appreciate you saying that too. Hate is no good. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate that a lot. When you die, you see the light. Do you head for it? Yeah, for sure. I've heard humans recycling trap and wondering if the light was part of this. There's no recycling trap, brother. You want the light. The trap is not going to the light. That's the trap. Into the light, ever deeper, the infinite light, ever deeper, ever deeper, ever deeper. You do what you wish, though. P.S. I'm headed for the light. I've been there. I'm going back. But I recommend, P.S., that you go to the light. I think tens of millions of near-death experiencers agree. So wonderful, all the forgiveness. Forgiveness is where it's at, people. Because forgiveness is love. Forgiveness is love. That doesn't mean that you have to take abuse, okay? That's another thing altogether. But forgiveness is love. Can we please have a closing prayer? Says Colleen. Yes, Charlie. Unfortunately, there are some Southerners who still refuse to accept that they lost. Yeah, no kidding. Another scripture today, Matthew 23, ending with all who exalt themselves will be humbled. All who exalt themselves will be humbled. That's a reading for most of the churches today across the United States and probably Canada and whoever else uses the lectionary. I'm going to go with the prayer thing. I think it's a great idea. I've got only 4 minutes and 33 seconds. And I got to get ready for Mystics Tea Salon, which you can find the link if you want to join us today at peterpanagore.love. And we're going to have a continued conversation there. So yes, thanks, Sue. Remember to like this video. Remember to subscribe. Thanks, Sue, for saying that. Let's take a moment here. And when I became a Protestant minister, I was forced to pray out loud. Until that point in my life, I never prayed out loud because everything prayer is silent. So what I would like you to do is take a moment here. I'll see you there, Brandon. Take a moment here and take a breath, and I will pray a little prayer out loud. Help us see you and others. Help us see you and the ones who hate us. Show us yourself. Show us yourself in the midst of sadness. Show us yourself when we're frightened. Show us yourself in the temple of our hearts. Show us your peace. Teach us forgiveness. Give us strength and nonviolence. Give us a nation united in you, in love. Not ideology, not dogma, not doctrine, but in the presence of yourself. Let us all see you in the eyes of our enemy, in the eyes of our enemies, and the hearts of those we love, and everyone we meet, everywhere we go, all the time, in everyone. We pray for our nation because we pray for our hearts to be united with you. Amen. All right. Thanks for coming, everybody. Peace and love, my friends. If you want to continue with the chat, I'll leave it up for a minute here or less because I got to go and set up my next thing. But you can always review it. You can always come back to it. So, my friends, you're welcome, Colleen. Always impromptu. You're welcome, Ellen. I'll wait another couple seconds here. Peace to you, Lee. Thanks, Geneva. Thank you. Thank you, Sybil Asia. You're welcome. I wasn't. Everybody. You're welcome, Shane, Geneva, Connie. Great. He went from he'll heaven. I don't know what that means, but I gotta go. Sabine, peace and love, everybody. I gotta get ready for Mystic Tea Salon. Thanks for coming. Like this video. Thanks for your gifts this morning. That was super nice. We're here because you guys support this. I am a semi to unemployed person trying to do this thing. So thanks for your support. Peace and love. Bye.